Hi everyone, I am not feeling the best during making this video, but I was really wanting to get it made for you. So I crashed on my bike and we were shuttled up to a certain area. It was supposed to be a 26-mile bike ride, which Daniel and Richard completed. But I crashed about 2 to 3 miles in and then had to go down another 18 miles to get off of the trails. And then I crashed another 5 times because I hurt so bad that I couldn't steer my bike really well. But anyways, we made it off, and it's really good to, I guess, hurt a little bit so we can have compassion towards other people. And but I am feeling better, so hopefully I can get this video out for you and you can enjoy it, because it's a really great topic. So we're going to focus on double letters, and I know we've talked about this already, but it's such a great topic with lots of different words. So we're going to go over and talk about why these letters are doubled. And so let's start with shodden. This is a closed syllable. I would say shodden if you didn't double it. So that is the reason why that's doubled. Okay, and so this has to be short. This has to have a letter here to make this short. That is the reason why we have double letters, is to force this into a closed syllable, and it forces it to be short. So, okay, now hoggish, you have a base word on this one. Hog is your base word, so you're going to look for the doubling rule in this word. And because, see, that's the accented syllable because it's your main word, and it's H-O-G. Consonant, vowel, consonant, so you're gonna add on a vowel suffix. So the doubling rule matters when you're adding a vowel suffix. Now, bafola. Now this means like a big boisterous laugh, or maybe a joke that somebody's telling that causes a big laugh. Now this one right here is your base word, B-O-F-F. So this is following the rule where you have one vowel followed by an F, L, S, or a Z. It's doubled, and then this part is added on, okay? So that part right there is your base word. Shimmy, this is like a dance where you shimmy around. Oftentimes, shim would maybe be your base word here, but oftentimes when you have a Y, you would have your doubled letter right there. Clap, clapping, you have clap as your base word, so you have the consonant, vowel, consonant in here that this has to have the doubling rule. That's the reason why this is doubled. Withholders, now you don't have double H's unless you have compound words. You don't see them very often. And this is a compound word, withholders. That's why the double H is right there. Swimmingly. What is your base word in that one, Dan?
Swim.
Swim. So you have swim. So is it a consonant, vowel, consonant? Yes. So that's the reason why this is doubled before you add on your vowel suffix. And then we have your ly added on. Swim, swimming, same thing here. Consonant, vowel, consonant. Swim is your base word. Now, jiggliest. This one is a consonant LE syllable. When you have a consonant LE syllable, it's really important that you study your consonant LEs, because there's lots of different ways that you can say ul. But if you've studied them enough that you know it's a consonant LE, this right here, this G right here has to stay with the LE that it affects. So that means this G has to be here to make this short. So making it short sound. Cupped, what's your base word here, Paul?
Cup.
Cup. So you have a consonant, vowel, consonant. This is using the doubling rule, and that's the reason why this is doubled. Bummed, this is using the doubling rule. Bum is your base word. And we have consonant, vowel, consonant, and before we added on our vowel suffix. Slimmer, Slim is your base word. So you have a consonant, vowel, consonant before adding on your vowel suffix. Pupped means a dog had her puppies. So we have a consonant, vowel, consonant. This pup is your base word. Okay? Consonant, vowel, consonant. Double it before you add on your vowel suffix. Fullness. Why is this double?
Because full is a word.
Because full is its very own word. What rule does it follow? So this rule is if you have a vowel followed by an F, L, S, or a Z, Daniel, you were totally correct, then you double it. And then, but why is this S doubled?
Because it's a suffix.
It is a suffix. You need to remember NESS is spelled with NESS, but it's also following the rule. If you have one vowel and it ends and it's followed by an F, L, S, or a Z, then it's doubled. Mommies, so mom, it's doubled because you have a consonant, vowel, consonant before you add on your vowel suffix. Mummies, this could be slang for mommy. It's the same thing, consonant, vowel, consonant. Mum, you're my mum, you're my mom. It depends on where you're at, on how you're going to say this, but it could also mean in the Egyptian times when they wrapped a body that has passed on.
Put it in a coffin.
Yeah, and put the body in a coffin. Anyways, you wrapped it in cloth, but that could be also that. Sub-base. Now this follows the rule where you have one vowel and it ends in a what? F, L, S, or Z. So that is going to be for the S, but why do we have a double B here? We have a prefix with a base word, okay? So this is a prefix hooked onto the base word. This can be considered a chameleon, and we're gonna talk about 3 sets of chameleons today. Gamosis, osis right there. Osis means a state or a disease. So gamosis, disease in a tree. They're mostly in fruit trees where their gum runs down too much. Decennial. What does DEC mean? Deca or Dessa.
Oh.
10. Okay, so this means 10. So an ennial means years. So 10 years. So a lot of times you see decade. Decade is used more often than decennial. And right here, hear it. Ennial. And so the same rule here, this has to be short. So it has to close it. This has to be a closed syllable because you can hear that this N is falling with this I. Ennial. So if you took the N out, it would say ennial. Okay, acclamations. So this right here is a chameleon prefix. And remember, if you have T-I-O-N, you are most likely sitting in with a Latin root. So chameleons almost always sit, well, when we talk about the chameleons, they will be sitting in Latin roots, but sometimes will sit in other base words, but this is going to be your Latin root. And so one is for the prefix and one is for the root. That's how you know. And not only that, acclamations, you can kind of hear it in there, but if you can't hear the double C, one's for the what? Prefix, and one is for
the word.
The base, the root. Yes, this is the Latin root. Annul, same thing here. This is a chameleon prefix, and this is your Latin root. And for the prefix, and one is here for the root. Now this is a consonant LE, straggling. Consonant LE. Now we do have the E was dropped to add on our vowel suffix, but still, this G has to be with this one. So if we want this to be short, it has to be doubled. So when you're knowing you're dealing with a consonant LE syllable, you know if you want this to be short, you have to be having it sit in a closed syllable. And a closed syllable is when a letter is sitting at the end. Goddess, okay? So this, God is your base word, and it's a consonant, vowel, consonant. And so you're adding on ESS. So do you guys remember what ESS means? It's a woman. And so if you see ESS, if you're adding ESS onto a word, you're saying that this is a woman. So a goddess is a woman god, okay? And so, but you have, see how this is a vowel? You have to double it because you're adding on a vowel suffix. Consonant, vowel, consonant, you double it. Vaccinate. Now this one, you can hear both of these C's. Okay, so oftentimes when you have a K, and you're trying to figure out if it's going to be a C or an S, oftentimes it's going to be a double C. And then you have your E, I, or a Y, which makes this, forces this to say S. So vaccinate, vaccinate, okay? So oftentimes it's the double C, you go ahead and keep them if you're in question there. Occurrence. Now this one's a really fun one. So this is your chameleon, this is your Latin root. So you double it right here. One is for the root and one is for your prefix. But then why is this doubled? Why is this doubled? So this one is doubled. Now, if you remember in another lesson we were talking about, cur is one of those roots that you have to be really careful with. Almost always a Latin root is accented, but curs can go either it can be accented or it can be not accented. And in this one, cur is accented. But how do you know for sure if this cur is accented? I mean, just by saying it, you know that this is the accented syllable. How do you know that though? This turned to schwa. We don't say cur, we say So we know, since this is turning to schwa, this right here is the accented syllable, and since this is the accented syllable, when you're adding on your vowel suffix, this has to be doubled. Okay? That's how you know that that needs to be doubled. Okay, so this is the consonant, vowel, consonant doubling rule in that one. Aggregates. All right? So we have, right here is your Latin root. This is your chameleon. And so you have one right here for your chameleon prefix and one right here for the root. Occipita. Same thing here as vaccinate. Right here. What should we do? These ones might be tricky, but it's OC and CI, oxi. So oftentimes we will have a double C there when you have those two sounds. Address, or some people will say address. Address, but this is your Latin root. Here is your prefix. It's doubled here. This is a D for your prefix and a D for your root. Accepted. Where's your root in this one, boys? Sept is your root. This is a chameleon prefix, so you have a C for your chameleon and a C for your root. Passivity. Where's your root there? Pass is your root. So pass is the whole root. And so this is following the spelling rule. If you have one vowel and it ends, and it's followed, and it ends, so it has to end in an F, L, S, or a Z, then it's doubled. So this is your whole word, and then you're adding on suffixes onto this word. Irregardless. Now, re means again. Ir means not. Excellent, very good. Ir means not. And IR is a prefix that says ear. It doesn't say it says ear. It's still a vowel R syllable, but you have one R for this prefix, one R for this prefix, and then less is a suffix that takes the double S, and it's following the spelling rule. If you have one vowel and it ends in an F, L, S, or a Z, it's doubled, but it has to follow it. See how this vowel, these S's are following that E, okay? Uncorrected. Where's the root here, boys?
Rect.
Nice, Dan. Rect is your root. So this is doubled because you have a chameleon here. And we're going to talk about this chameleon. You have a prefix here, one for the prefix and one for the root. That's why you know that this is going to be doubled. Worthless, this is your suffix with the double S, and it follows the spelling rule. You have one vowel followed by an F, L, S, or a Z. That's the spelling rule. Also, lassie is this word, and your base word is lass, which means a girl, and so it's following the spelling rule. If you have one vowel and it's followed by an F, L, S, or a Z, then it's doubled. So lass is your base word, and then you have a suffix added onto that. And bitter. Now, this one is one of those where you have to kind of listen. If you hear it for sure following over here, you know you need a double T to make this short, because it has to be a closed syllable to make this short. Or it'd say embiter. We don't want it to say embiter, we want it to say embitter. Okay, now offendi. Where's your Latin root in this one?
Fend.
Nice. Fend is your Latin root. This is your chameleon prefix. So you have an F for your root, an F for your chameleon. Okay, so diffuse. This is your Latin root. This is your chameleon. And we're going to go over these ones. Whoops. We're going to go over those ones also. This is your Latin root. So you have one F for your prefix and one F for your Latin root. Now this word right here, berry, if you hear airy, it's either A-R-R or E or A-R-R-Y or E-R-R-Y. But this, I think you should have it as a spelling word, so you don't misspell this word. Like I ate a strawberry, because it's going to go with strawberry, raspberry, blackberry, boysenberry. This is how you spell berry, and you need to remember that's actually how you spell it. I put that as a spelling word. Admission, a double S here, but remember, what do you guys remember the Latin root for that sits in here? Mit. So that is your Latin root. So when you're adding an S-I-O-N onto that, it moves this to a T, okay? And so you have to put your S-S-I-O-N, and it's making this short. Correction, where's the root on this one?
Rect.
Nice, rect. So this right here is your chameleon prefix, which, so you have an R here and an R here. That's why this is doubled. One for the prefix and one for your Latin root. Grotto. See how you can hear it? Grotto. It's falling over here. So for this to be short, you have to have that doubled. You have to have it sitting in a closed syllable. Okay? Closed syllable, tetter. You can almost hear this one fall in both syllables. Tetter. So if you can hear it falling in both, it's probably doubled. Okay? Basso or basso. This, either way, this could be either a name or it could also deal with music. So for that, I would say you have a base word and it's following, if you have one vowel and it's followed by an F, L, S, or a Z, then it's going to be double. Nice, thanks, Polly. So irrelevance. Okay, what are your, why is this doubled, Dan?
Because one belongs to the chameleon prefix.
Okay.
It belongs to that.
Okay, so now this right here is also a prefix, but it's not a chameleon, okay? But one goes to this prefix and one goes to this. And so that's R goes with R. Okay? Cupola. Now this is a double B. You have to hear because this B goes here. So this one is forcing this to be short. So you have to have the B here. So piccata. You can hear this is short. And so this has to be closed. And so you're doubling the C because it has to be a closed syllable, piccata. And you almost can hear both of those C's, okay? Traffic, see how the F is sitting over here, but you have to have this short. So the only way to make that short is if you have a closed syllable. And that F has to be here to be short. If that F wasn't here, it would say traffic. Officer, same thing here. The F is falling here, so you have to have this F here to make this short. Okay? This is the accented syllable in this one. And so this has to be, this is a short. It has to be a closed syllable. That's why that F is there. Can you guys tell me what the Latin root is into this one? Rect. So here is your chameleon prefix. You have one R for your chameleon prefix and one R for your Latin root. Okay, R goes with R. A surrejoinder. Right here, there's your prefix, and here is your other prefix. Doesn't matter if it's sitting on a prefix, it doesn't matter. If it's sitting on the base word, R goes with R, and you just add it on, okay? Or even, but that is the reason why that's doubled. Clutter, see how you can hear it falling over here. So you have to have this as a closed syllable here to force this U to be short. Clutter, clutter. See how it falls over here? Oftentimes, these are oftentimes difficult to hear because you have words like city, sit-y, and city. So it's often hard to tell with some of these. That's why I feel it's so incredibly important to have spelling words. But still, if you can hear it falling over here, it's probably a doubled letter. Cannot. Now these can be two separate words on their own to be a compound word. And this is a compound word. Now cannot is one word. You put it together and you spell it the exact same way as you would. That's why these are double. Okay, so buddy, I thought this was really interesting because this can mean a friend, and you've done a little bit of scuba diving and you never leave without your buddy. You never dive without your buddy. But I've always spelled it B-U-D-D-Y, which is the same thing as B-U-T-T-Y. So kind of interesting. Same thing here though. B-U and the T falls over here. And if you're typically having a Y at the end, it's going to probably be a doubled letter. When, and this is actually a really old word, but a lot of people have this as a name. And so this one would probably be a spelling word right here. So accuses. Here's your Latin root. Here's your chameleon. This C is here for the chameleon. This C is here for your Latin root. Groggy. Double G, groggy. Remember, if you have a Y here, most likely you have a double G. If you're trying to keep that, because you can't have a single G, it would say groggy without the double G. Okay, gammy, it's like a grandma. Hey, gam, it's more of a slang word for gammy, but gam, you have a base word and consonant, vowel, consonant. This is the doubling rule, and then you add on before you add on your vowel suffix. Ammonites, ammon, so you hear it break over here, and so this has to be short to make it say the ah sound. It has to be a closed syllable here for it to say ah. Okay, so that's why that is doubled. Okay, annualize. Okay, so this is Latin root and this is a chameleon. One for the prefix, one for the root. Cottage. Where does the t fall in this one, boys?
Edge.
On the edge part. Cottage. You can hear it fall. It like falls over here. So you know that this is going to be a double. You have to have this short. You have to have this a closed syllable, or it's a coatage. Okay? Brown nose. This is a double N because it's a compound word. You have two separate words that one ends in an N and one starts with an N. Equiper. This is your Latin root. This is your chameleon. But this U right here, is this U considered a vowel in this word? No. No, it's not. Because it's by your Q. When you have a QU, this U is not a vowel. All right? So this is going to be a consonant, vowel, consonant before you add on your vowel suffix. So this is the doubling rule. Strass, this is following the rule where if it has one vowel, is there only one vowel sitting in this word? Yes. And it ends with an F, L, S, or a Z. See, is it following? Yep. This vowel and it's following. So you double it. You're right, Paul, you double it. Nuzzle, this is a consonant L-E syllable. Nuzzle. So you know that this Z has to go with this consonant L-E. So this has to be a closed syllable, so it has to be double because we want this to be short. If you want a short vowel, you have to have it sitting in a closed syllable. Okay? Let's see if I can sit down. My knee doesn't work quite right. Irremediable. This right here is a prefix. This is a prefix. So this R attaches to this R. Whittle, you have a consonant LE syllable, and this T has to be here to put this into a closed syllable to force this vowel to be short, or it'd say whittle. So consonant LE syllables, remember, if you have this short sound right, a double letter. Now remember, you should study your consonant LE syllables. They should be spelling words, lists of spelling words. Irradiator, so we have an R with your base word, or your root with your chameleon prefix, okay? This is your prefix, and you can actually hear both of these R's, ear, ray. So you can hear both of those, but still, prefix, base word. Now this follows the spelling rule where you have one vowel, and if it ends and it's followed, see how this S is followed by this vowel? It's one vowel and it ends in an F, L, S, or a Z. You double it at the end. Swiss. Concurrent. Okay, Paul, where's your root in here? I like this word. I love teaching this right here. Daniel, what's the root in here? Cur. Here is your Latin root. Now, how come this is doubled right here? This is one of the most confusing things where we're going to mess up with the doubling. It's because, look, this turns to schwa. Now remember, cur is one of those Latin roots that will switch from a accent or not accented. Here it is accented. How do we know that this is accented? How do we know it?
Because that one's schwa. Because
that one turned to schwa. So we know concur is, this is the accented syllable. So when we're adding on right here, this nt, we know it has to be doubled. Okay? Commonalty, which is often confused with commonality because you just need an I in there. And commonalty is just is a common people. Commonality means you have things in common with other people. It means that you're together. So this right here, so we have your Latin root with your chameleon. So we're going to put our chameleon right there. Oh, I didn't do that very well. Put a comma in there. So this is your chameleon with your Latin root, but this means you're together, which I think is really interesting. shared by all. So irredeem, and oftentimes you'll have irredeemable, but we have our Latin root with our prefix, which means again, and ir means not able to redeem, okay? R goes with R. Sis is your base word. It's kind of slang for sister, but before you're adding on your vowel suffix, this is following the spelling rule, consonant, vowel, consonant. Okay, before you're adding on, you have to double it before you add on your vowel suffix. Pottage, okay? Can you hear where that T is going to stand? Pottage? Yeah, it sits over here, so that means you have to have a double T to make this short, okay? So to make something short, it has to be a closed syllable, and it has to be sitting something here at the end. Communal. So remember, that means we're together. So here is your root. Here is your chameleon prefix. One for the chameleon and one for your root. Appune. This right here would probably even be Greek. So we will see some chameleons sitting, and this is a chameleon on Greek words. Okay, Paul. Accurate. Where's your root? Cur. Okay, now this is so important for you to be able to spot your roots in a word. And so this these is doubled because you have a chameleon prefix here, and then you have a Latin root here. C for your prefix, C for your root. But why is this not doubled? How come we don't have, typically we have double R's on our, because listen to this, accurate. See, this doesn't turn to schwa, so you know you don't double it here when you add on the suffix ate. Does that make sense? Yeah? Okay, so that's one of those ones where it's not doubling on the R. Okay, successfulness. Here is your Latin root. Here is your chameleon. I'm going to put that S-U-C. One C for the prefix, one C for the Latin root. And look, this full only has one L, but we have ness with a double S. Remember, this follows the spelling rule. If you have one vowel and it's followed by an F, L, S, or a Z, it's following the spelling rule. But look at this one, fullness. See the difference, you guys, here? This is spelt with one L, and this is spelt with two L's. Why?
Here, let me see.
This is spelt with one L. This is spelt with two L's. Why?
It's because full is not a word.
So this one right here is a suffix, and this one is the word full. Okay, good. Okay. Succulence. Right here, you guys, is your root. Here is your chameleon prefix. One C for your prefix and one for your Latin root. Now, we are going to go over your chameleons, but we're going to start off a few chameleons today, so you're not going to be blindsided with a whole bunch of chameleons. But it's really important because once you actually memorize your chameleons, all of a sudden you're going to go, oh my gosh, there's a Latin root attached to that. Okay? Not always, but often. Ripple. You can hear this, the p sitting over here. Pull. And so this has to be doubled because this is short. It has to have a closed syllable to make that short. Same thing here, a consonant LE, dappling. This right here, it has to go with your consonant LE, so you know that these are closed. Study your consonant LE syllables so you do not mess up your doubling rule on here. Stillness. Why do you think this double L is here?
Because it's an FL, S, or Z.
Yeah, and it has one vowel. So it's following that rule. Same thing with the double S on ness, it's following that rule. If it is following an F, L, S, or a Z with one vowel, then it's doubled. So these are following the exact same rule. This says bobble, consonant LE, this B has to be here because this B will always be with this consonant LE. So you have to have a double B to force this to be short, or it's a bobble. Accidental, look, there you go, guys. There's your Latin root. Here's your chameleon. One C for your chameleon, one C for your Latin root. Feluca. Feluca, this is the double C. It sits over here. Feluca, this is feluca. This is feluca. This is feluca. Okay, but that C is doubled. Drizzling, now this is a consonant LE syllable. You have to have your double to make this short, has to be a closed syllable. Razzmatazz. Now, these are their very own words. So it's going to follow the spelling rule. What's the spelling rule, boys? If you have one vowel and it ends with an F, L, S, or a Z and it's followed by it, you double it. So these ones right here, they're both following that rule. And then you have some like extra stuff in the middle. Accumulate. There's your root, there's your chameleon. One for the chameleon, one for the root, okay? Grisette. Now, this needs to be memorized. Et is a French suffix. This does mean a woman, okay? Frizzinesses. There's your base word, frizz. It's following the spelling rule. If you have one vowel and it ends in an F, L, S, or a Z, you double it. So this is following that. Your base words right here. Then you're adding on your, this was a Y, changing the Y, and now you're adding on ness. You never change anything with ness. So it's a double S, it's following the spelling rule. Accuracy, right here. Where's your Latin root?
My accuracy is terrible for some stuff. Curd.
Oh, nice, Daniel. So you have a C for your root. This is your chameleon, a C for your prefix. Why are we not doubling it here? If this is a Latin root, why is it not doubled?
Because it's not strong.
This, exactly. This is the accented syllable. So this right here is the accented syllable. This is not accented. You don't double on unaccented syllables, okay? This is not accented. And how do we know that it's not accented? It's because it says ah. It's saying the sound you would expect it to say. Accuracy, okay? So that's the reason why this is not doubled. If it would say accuracy, you would have, this would have been a doubled word, okay? Drippily. Drip is your base word, so you have the doubling rule in this one. It's a consonant vowel consonant, so you double it before you add on your vowel suffix, which was a Y. Then we change the Y to an I before we add on our ly. Julian, right here, guys. Boom. That should be a spelling word. So now julienne, this is when you're cutting up your vegetables in long, really pretty slices, and I couldn't tell you a real way why that is a double N, except it could even have been somebody's name, which oftentimes when it's somebody's name, they have their own reasons for their spelling if they don't want to follow spelling rules. Applicable, one for, that's a chameleon, and one for the root, okay? Mummery. Mum. Mum is your base word. M falls here, so you know it needs to be doubled, so this can be short. Okay? Nipple, like a baby's bottle. The nipple on that. Consonant LE. This has to be a closed syllable to force this to say its short sound. Vicennial. Okay? Remember, ennial means year, or enne means year. And this means 20, okay? So this can be kind of confusing. Now, remember, if you have ennial, you can hear that this needs to be a double N because this is short. Right? Does that make sense, boys? Okay, triggerman. Why do you think that needs to be doubled, Dan?
Because if it wasn't, it would say something.
Triggerman. So trigger is your base word. So this is a compound word, right? And so the G is following over here. So you need the double G to force this to be short. You have to have a closed syllable there. Yeah, honey?
That's say German. Because
yeah, you know that, yeah, and actually Paul's right, because when you have a double G right here and then you have your vowel suffix right here, it keeps the G sound. I love that you pointed that out. But if we took that G out, it would say try German, because you don't have this G keeping that G with the hard G sound. Nice, I'm glad that you brought that up. Hitchhiker. Double H's, you only see those when you have compound words. That's a compound word. Blubbed, you have a base word here. So you have a consonant, vowel, consonant. You need the doubling rule before you add on your vowel suffix. That is the reason why this one is doubled. Scruff, why is this doubled, Paul?
FLS or Z.
Yes, FLS or Z, but another thing that is imperative that you know that is that you only have one vowel. And look, it's following it. See, there's nothing in between that. It's following that. Occupant. So you have your chameleon prefix right here and your Latin root. So one C for your chameleon prefix and one C for your root. Play off. Off. Why is the double F right there?
FLS or Z.
Yeah, because see, this is two separate words. This is a compound word. So you're going to spell it exactly how you would spell it if it was sitting by itself. So off is its very own word. And so it follows the spelling rule. If you have one vowel and it ends and it's following it, see how the F is following this vowel and it ends in an F, L, S, or a Z, it's doubled. Daniel, why is this one doubled?
Because you have a word and then you added an ER to it.
Yes, so you have your base word and you are adding, so and it's a consonant, vowel, consonant. So when you have a base word like that, you have to say, okay, takes the doubling rule before you add on your vowel suffix. Skedaddlers. This is a consonant LE syllable. It has to be doubled because it forces this to have a closed syllable. This has to be a closed syllable for this to be short. Brexation. You can hear both of these sounds, and this is the same C. If you can hear, oftentimes when you hear k, s, then you're not, it could be a double C instead of an SI. Okay, so now we are going to go through chameleon. Okay, Dan, circle the one in here that is the main one that will go on many different roots.
Sub.
Okay, how about in this section? Okay, CON. And how about in this section? Okay, so nice, thanks, Dee. Okay, so why that matters is because sub actually can go on not just chameleon. It's not just a chameleon. It's actually a prefix, just a prefix that will go on lots of American words. That means it's smaller or below. It's super important that you understand the meaning of these suffixes. This means smaller or below or something like in that area. And so when you're adding these on, then you're helping you understand what the word actually means. So this could go on lots of ones, but this one, SUR, goes on roots that start with R, roots that start with C, roots that start with an M, roots that start with a P, roots that start with an F, roots that start with an S, and then these will go on all of the other roots. Same here. These will go on all of the other roots, but here, roots that start with, so B's, M's, and P's. This COM will go on roots that go with B's, M's, and P's. All right? Now this one doesn't do that because it does have a P, it does have an M, it does have a B. So you don't worry about it in this one, but it matters in this section where COR goes only on R's, COL goes only on L's, and these go on the rest. COM goes on B's, M's, and P's. Same here. This goes on N. This will go on different ones also. So anyways, that's an introduction of your Chameleon prefixes that will go on Latin roots. And so it's really important that you actually understand this. And I feel that these need to be memorized. I don't think it's just for people that are having a hard time learning how to read. This will help your spelling if you actually understand this part and for it to go on your actual Latin root. So anyways, I challenge you to get this memorized, and you can look this up online where you look up Chameleon prefixes and you will totally find them online, and you'll be able to study them and memorize them. And we'll do a video just on Chameleon prefixes. So anyways, we will see you in the next lesson. Okay, goodbye.